You're listening to the Homeownership podcast by Movementum Realty, real estate talk for buying, selling, and owning property.
Hey guys, Sean Patrick Maloney here, broker owner of Movementum Realty, located in Hanover, Massachusetts. Welcome to episode 27, The Secret to Buying Cheap in Real Estate. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week. I look forward to talking to you about ways to buy cheap in real estate. A lot of people go about buying real estate the exact same way. The first day they get in there, they search every single property in the town. They look at all the properties, they check them out, they tend to schedule some showings, and often they schedule showings on only the newest listings. Sometimes they'll do some of the ones that have been on for a while, but like everybody, they fear that the ones that have been on for a while have something wrong with them. So then they go and they look at the newest pieces of real estate, often putting in offers, and many times getting beat out by a multiple offer situation or feeling like every single home is overpriced. This is extremely common in an upward trending marketplace where everything is going on for more expensive than the last thing's on. I'm here to talk more about how do you make that work and how do you get it cheap. So let's talk about first things. Just because the real estate is on for a while, it doesn't mean there's actually something wrong with it. A lot of times there's a lot of different scenarios. One would be the agent originally overshot the marketplace. This means that they thought it was worth more money than it was. They put it on the market responded by not making any offers, so therefore it sat. In time with sitting, they make price adjustments, and then again, people think there's something wrong with the property, so the property ends up stigmatized that there must be something wrong, and the property never sells. The next one would be the property had gone under agreement, then came back on the market. This is a funny one and a really tough one for sellers. Whenever a property goes off the market, then comes back on the market, there's only one assumption. There's something wrong with the house. I'm here today to tell you that that's not always true. Very often there's something wrong with the buyers. More often is there something wrong with the buyers than there is something wrong with the house actually. There are a couple different scenarios that happen with the buyers. One, the buyer gets buyer's remorse. They put in an offer, they went in a multiple bid situation, they won, and then they're like, oh my god, I am paying way too much money for this house. And the only reason that they did it is because they felt that fear of missing out, that willingness to beat everyone else out, that desire to get the home, and they put in a bid, and then they realize, oh my god, I've spent so much money, I don't want it anymore. The next one that they might feel would be, geez, I'm not ready to buy a house, and then they flake out and never buy any house. But either way, either one of those, you end up back on the market because the buyer just flaked out. Another scenario would be bad home inspection. This is the one everyone fears. A bad home inspection, they think, oh, the house had a bad home inspection, and then they just kind of market a dead house. Have you ever seen a house just go vacant forever? Unless a person didn't want to sell it, of course, but have you ever just seen one go vacant forever? Or just like a sign like this house, RIP, died in 1952 and never came back? No, the reality is when a home inspection goes bad, there's a whole bunch of different options that happen. Often, buyers walk away. The reason they walk away, maybe they can't negotiate with the seller, but more often than not, they get nervous. They don't want to buy a, quote, a bad house, so they walk away. Did you know there's no such thing as failing or passing a home inspection? That there's just known facts that come out? There's known defects that actually are exposed out during the home inspection? So what should happen, and what most of the time can happen, is the buyer and seller negotiate price, or the seller decides to fix items, or the buyer decides, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. I asked for money off, but since they're not willing to do anything, I'm going to move forward with it. But when a deal does break up, it leaves the seller with a bad mark on their record. And with the state like Massachusetts, we have a disclosure state where if you have a known material defect, you actually have to tell the buyers about it. So what this means is most often the sellers end up doing the work after the buyer walks away because they fear having to tell everybody about the issues they ran into, and they also fear just having another home inspection go bad and realizing just that we have to do it in the long run. So often the sellers end up doing the work before the next home inspection. So when you're looking at houses and you're seeing them on there for a while, a lot of these ones that we fear, it's kind of an irrational fear. Again, they're not just going to die. They're not just going to be there and not happen. It may mean that you're actually able to put in an offer at a lower price than you thought. So one of the places that you'll find the best deals in real estate is anything that's been on the market 45 days or more. The longer something's been on the market, the more the seller doesn't even begin to believe in their price. The original price that they thought they were going to get, they start to understand that, geez, I'm probably not going to get that. And then what that means is that you, as the buyer, going out there and putting offers in, your money has a little more power. You're in the power seat now because you are a buyer and they don't have any buyers and they need a buyer in order to sell the house and move forward. So you being that person that's in the control seat, this means you're usually able to better negotiate terms and to have the price be more favorable of what you want. The way to look at this is people who are coming into the market, if everybody's looking at the new houses, that means that chances are, even if a house comes on underpriced, it's very hard to get a deal there. The reason for this is when a house is underpriced, when it first comes onto the marketplace, it usually attracts lots and lots of energy. And with lots of energy becomes lots of bids. With lots of bids, it usually ends up a multiple offer situation above asking where the person ends up paying more money than they would have. We often tell people when we're going out on listing appointments, say the home was supposed to be listed at $350, we might be better off to list the house maybe at $340, maybe at $345. And the reason for this is if we know it's worth $350 and we offer at $340, $345, and we're in a busy marketplace, this means that people are going to come in and they're going to want to make an offer. And when they see each other, they're going to want to make a higher offer. And then they're going to go over asking price, and typically they end up chasing the price up to higher than it would have been, say we put it on for exactly what it's worth. The risk of putting it on for what it's worth is that nobody sees that value and that you end up having to make a price break. Once you make a price break, it does happen, but it's a rare occasion where you end up going back above what you're actually asking. Once you make that price break, most often people come in and they make offers lower than the actual price that you have there. They figure if you've already made a price break, you already realize that it's not worth what it's worth to you and that they could probably give you less money. So that's why when you're looking at these homes that have been on 45, 60 days, 90 days, these are really, really good candidates for making an offer because they've already made price breaks, they've already admitted that the price was off, and they're already ready to actually move on to the next home. A lot of people, when they meet with us as agents, they ask us, how long is it going to take me to sell my home? We usually answer them somewhere in the 30 to 60 day range to get an accepted offer, and maybe in the 45 to 90 day range to closing. When a person hits the 90th day, mentally they were already prepared to move. If they're already prepared to move and they haven't yet moved, it means that they feel like the house that they own is holding them up. No longer do they feel like it's a huge asset and that there's enormous value in it. They're starting to feel like they have an anchor. They have an anchor that they need to cut free so that they can move on to the next thing. This is especially common if they're pregnant or if they're moving for another job. A lot of times when you deal with a person that's on a relocation and it's not a company-assisted relocation, they end up having to make a drastic price break at one point. Because at first they wanted to get the money they want. Then suddenly they realize they're going to own 2 homes. And in a situation where they can't own 2 homes, that means they're going to have to make an alteration to something. They're going to have to cut the price. One of the things you can look for when you're looking for these extreme deals is these properties that have been on the market for 60 to 90 days and they have not made a price break at all. These are the people that obviously they're trying to hang on to their price, but when it comes down to it, you can make an offer that's drastically less than what they're actually asking for. This can improve your bottom line. This can help you get that property cheap. And a lot of times these houses are great because of the fact that other people aren't looking at the home. When a person doesn't make a price break and they just stand fast 60, 90, 120 days out, most people don't even bother looking anymore. And what that means is that you have kind of a wormhole, a spot where you can find a way in that most people otherwise aren't looking. Another thing you can do is look at the really old listings. Look at the ones that have been on for hundreds of days, maybe even more than a year. These properties are ripe for the picking. These are the ones that you can go in and you can make offers on and land. The key to this is if you're working with an agent or you're working on your own, to reach out to the agent that's listing it and ask what the preferable terms are. Try to dig in. Try to find out why have they not accepted anything. What do they have going on? How come they haven't decided to make any moves? A lot of times you'll find out that the person wants certain terms, maybe a timeline, all these different things that you can make into your offer. The more preferable you make the terms of your offer, the better chance you have of getting that deal that you're looking for. One of the things a lot of people say is, well, a lot of the houses that have been on for a long time are just simply broken. They don't fit my needs. Maybe they have an ugly kitchen. Maybe they have a bad septic system. Lots of different options. Do you realize that you actually are able to qualify for financing that could be a rehab loan? There's a bunch of different systems out there, one called a 203k loan, But a lot of people have the confusion. They think a 203K loan is only for a broken home. They think it's like to put a new roof on or to fix a septic. Yes, those things can be done, but the truth is of 203K lending is that actually the money can be used for anything. It can be used for upgrades. It can be used to create a new kitchen. It can be used to put in a bedroom. It can be used to build a garage. It can be used for just about anything you name, as long as the money that's put into the home will be able to be appraised out of the home. Meaning if you buy the house at $200 and you got to put $100,000 in, the appraiser will then say that the house is worth $300,000. Each and every different loan situation works out differently, so you'll need to know what loan you're in and how much money you qualify for. Some go based on percentages, some have no cap as long as it appraises out. There are lots and lots of different types of rehab loans, so you want to ask your lender about these, because the reality is a lot of times if you're searching for that beautiful new home and you can't find it and you're looking in the $500,000 range, maybe you should be looking in the $250,000 to $300,000 range. Now you're probably scratching your head saying, why would I look in the $250,000 to $300,000 to find a $500,000? The reality is, if you had a $200,000 budget to put into a $250,000 to $300,000 home that sits on a nice big lot, can you not imagine putting on a $100,000 addition, adding that master bath, adding that master bedroom, creating that custom kitchen, getting those stainless steel appliances? These are realities that a lot of people don't even realize they have available to them. And this is a great way to actually build equity, because we're looking for a deal. We buy it for short money. We fix it up. Guess what? Very quickly, you're going to build sweat equity. You're going to build the equity of, I finished a project that most people couldn't dream up existed. And when you finish with that project, maybe you live there for a while and enjoy it. Maybe you just turn the house and you head on to the next one. Obviously, you need to check the type of loan you have to find out if you have any restrictions. Some of the loans that have the better rates that are government-backed loans say that you have to own the house for so many years. But the reality is, a lot of these houses that you're blackballing and not looking at are just due to the fact that you don't understand that you actually have the availability of buying them. So these 203K, the USDA rehab, and a lot of the other rehab loans, they're actually very promising products, and some of them have as low as 3.5% down. I'm actually working on one right now that was a vacation home, and it needs to be converted into a year-round home. Most people said, I can't do it. I can't spend $10,000, $20,000 on winterization and a new heating system. Well, my clients, luckily, they were working with myself. I was able to educate them on the availability of a 2 or 3K loan, and somewhere where we couldn't find a house that fit within their price range, we're now going to buy a home that's everything they wanted, within the distance of the beach they wanted, for the price they wanted, and it's going to come with a brand new heating system and new insulation. So these types of homes, the homes that you may not be looking at and that you may want to be looking at. Now, having an agent that understands the marketplace and understands all the different availabilities of these is a big part of getting a deal in real estate. Lots of people think that you just call any agent and that they'll just help you. You want to make sure you have a professional agent. You want to make sure you have an agent that really trains and really understands what's available, because lots of agents, honestly, what they really do, they set you up on a drip email every single day, all day long. You get updates of a new home, and then every once in a while they send you a text message that says, do you want to go see something? Never once do they think outside the box and think of a creative way to get you into housing for cheap. When you're looking for real estate for cheap, you got to look where everyone else is not looking. And these homes that have been on the market for a long time are a very good place to do it. Let's talk about some other things that are very simple. Cosmetics. One of the ones that really kills a lot of homes is curb appeal. So when you're looking through these homes that are on the market for a while, look for the ugly duckling. Look for one that maybe it looks not that great from the outside, but with a little bit of simple landscaping and a little bit of simple changes, you can actually have a really, really good home, and for a fraction of the cost of a really nice home. In a world of HGTV and everyone wanting these dream homes from Flip or Flop or all these other TV shows, painting a wall gray and throwing in granite countertops does not make a home a nice home. A good solid home that was built well, that's on a nice lot, wins every day to me. And it's pretty easy to call contractors and have them come in and put these items in, or for you yourself to paint your walls gray and to fix it up. The one thing that happens, though, is when you go where everyone else in the market's going, which is that house with all the gray walls and the granite countertops, you're guaranteed to pay more, and most likely you're guaranteed to pay too much. One of the things that always made me laugh in real estate is these places that call themselves luxury apartments. It's a whitewashed building with gray walls and granite countertops and stainless steel appliances, and somehow they charge people double or triple what the local rents are going for, and they put them into huge long lease terms. Don't be the fool when buying real estate that falls for vanity. Just a simple paint job on the outside of the exterior isn't replacing the siding. A paint job inside the home doesn't change the shiplap or the old woodwork that's underneath. Changing the countertops doesn't upgrade the cabinets. There's lots of simple fixes in real estate that end up selling houses for too much money. Look deep at the house. Look into where is the house located in town, what is the long-term value, and last but not least, most important thing to think of is typically you're not going to live in a home for only a year. So if you're not going to live in it for only a year and there are things that you can deal with within the home, a lot of times by taking on things you can deal with, you can end up getting yourself a deal because of the fact that you didn't buy the house perfect. More often than not, when buying a house perfect, it leads to the fact that you're going to pay too much money. But when you buy a home that's in a great area, on a great lot, that's solid built, you're willing to put in a little sweat equity, possibly put in a little bit of actual money into the property, you stay there for a few years, possibly pull a home equity loan, and then do the upgrades, you're sure to find yourself some equity and to be able to sell for more. In a market that's in an upward trend, buying the most expensive house on the block that was recently updated can mean that you can't sell when home prices have any sort of fluctuations, which no matter where the market goes, there's always fluctuations, there's ups and downs, but buying that really expensive house can lead you to a lot of problems, and a lot of times when you buy these ones that were recently fixed up, they only put band-aids over big problems, and you end up with a problem, and you didn't realize you have it, and you spent every bit of your money on the home instead of looking for a deal for yourself. So when shopping for real estate, it's never a bad idea to be a little bit frugal. It's never a bad idea to really look deep and also be creative and out of the box in your thinking. If you're looking to work with an agent that knows what they're talking about, reach out to us over here at Movementum Realty. We can set you up with an agent that can help you figure out a way to get a house for a deal and to get it done under your own terms. Thanks for listening to the podcast this week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, email us, direct message us, personal message us, and make sure to follow the podcast. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.